let me introduce myself a little bit to folks who are new. So I'm Bianca Marie. I live in Maryland, and 2 kids, a 2-year-old and a 10-year-old. And we are doing the balancing act of the homeschool and working and all of that, those pieces. So literally every day is a journey. I have given up on bedtime, and that's just the reality of my world. They go to bed when they go to bed. I just can't fight. So but that's our world. I've been in public health for over 17 years. So when I am a doula, one reason why I came into even being a doula, and I was a doula before I even knew what a doula was, that was literally because I'm from the South, and my father is from a very rural area within South Carolina. And so I grew up in my network in my community, always being called upon to help the new moms, to help especially the younger moms, to help them in their transition and their journey. And I, of course, again, my background is in public health and women's health specifically. And so I was always the one who was advocating and sharing information, whether I got it from CDC or from work or from anywhere else. So I was the go-to person within my own community, my network, to help with when it comes to women's health. And so I was a doula for a long time before I even knew what a doula was. So one of the reasons why I love being a doula is because I do believe that you're able to be an advocate, you are able to be a champion, and you're able to help a mom. I believe you help a mom, then you help the family. You help that family, you probably help that community. You help the community, you help that city. You help the city, you help the state. And y'all know, it grows from there, because I do believe that women are the backbones of everything. So if you get a mom healthy, you more than likely can help that family be healthy. And that's what I love. So with that, there's a couple slides I just want to go through, and then we can certainly open up for discussions. Y'all mentioned just in your introduction, there's so many training opportunities out there, so many areas you can get trained on. It's, you can get overwhelmed in it, but don't, just figure out what works for you and go with it. So I'm going to turn the camera to the file, and then you all let me know there. Okay, give me a thumbs up if y'all can see it, okay? Okay, perfect. Okay, so quickly, because I like to just chat I put my alarm on, because I just want to be together about 45 minutes or so to an hour, so not take up all of your day. So I have my alarm there. But I put together a couple things that I wanted to share, and then we can open it up for discussion. And so today, all about training opportunities. Wanted to go over, let me move this out of the way so I can see. Talk about the training benefits, criteria, and we can all compile different criteria, but some key criteria, and then that you should be thinking of when you're selecting your training, and then some opportunities that I know of. So thank you all for sharing your name, your location, and introducing yourself about your training. That's my daughter there, Alexandra. And so training benefits. I believe that we are or should be life learners, meaning, you do your training. Even if you're doula training, if you do your doula training 4 years ago, things have changed. If you did your doula training probably 4 weeks ago, things have changed now with our world. So making sure you stay abreast of what the changes are, not only with things as in, breathing techniques, but I'm talking about even training and learning, staying abreast of things like products. I don't think a week goes by where mom doesn't ask me about, a recommendation for diaper rash cream or diapers or stroller or anything like that. So when I'm talking about training, I'm talking about the full spectrum of the formal training that you would embrace to make sure that you as a professional have the latest and greatest knowledge. But then the training and the skills and this awareness, more of knowledge based is what I'm referring to, just awareness of things that moms and families will need to encounter along their journey. Okay, let me do one quick break and try to let in. I think did I let in Jasmine? Okay, I think she's in. I don't want anybody sitting out waiting, trying to get into the chat. Okay, so training, and every training is different, and so I like the diversity. We have some Doulas, some other training vendors that we mentioned. Every training is different, and so I just want to make sure that everybody's comfortable with knowing that a training that may work for me may not work for you. You know, it may the curriculum maybe not be what you're looking for. You may want it to be something a little bit different. You may want it to have the infusion of working with different cultures or different concepts. So making sure you're aware of the training curriculum, I think, is very, very important. And I think we all can say that every doula training is different. We're all doing the same work in a way, but every training is different. And so being empowered with taking the time to empower yourself with knowledge is critical. And so I know I'm preaching to the choir, so I will move on, but I do believe that training and investment in yourself is helpful. And some of us, and I know I've talked to some of the doulas over the last week or so, training in person versus online. Now there was a lot of training that before was totally in person, but now with our world, there's a lot of it that's available online. And so I just want to make sure everybody is aware of some of the changes, but some of the training that I had know of in the past that totally was in person, that now they're being flexible and making it online. And so again, one day, someday, we'll be back to our normal where we can get out and do in-person training and events and things. And so just being aware, knowing yourself what type of training works best for you also is empowering. When you're trained and you have knowledge, the sky is the limit. It's totally the limit. So with looking at training opportunities, I'm going a little quickly because I want to get to the training, opportunities. So some of the questions that I ask myself and that some of my clients, make sure my clients ask them is, why are you doing the training? Why? What need is it that you're trying to get from the training? What knowledge gap are you trying to address? Because there's so many trainings out there and so many training vendors, and I'm sure most of them are awesome, but again, they will meet different needs, and there may be a topic that you're looking for, or a skill that you want to gain, and within that curriculum, if they only touch on that 5 minutes, then that may not have been the best training course for you. And the last thing you want to do is go pay, invest and pay for something and then not be what you, at the end of the day, not get what you need from it. And so I would suggest and recommend, even when you see a training advertised online, if you can, call them or send them an email or do a chat with them if they have that available on their website, to make sure that you are clear as to what the outcome is and the training topics and the depth of them that they will go into. Is it credible? And this is kind of a gray area. And I say that because there's so many training vendors out there, and you all know doula, there's not, it's not a national regulated body or anything like that for our work. So when I say is it credible, it's a little bit of a gray area there. But what I'm referring to is it going to be professional? If you pay for the training, will the training actually happen? Do you have any reviews or social proof for anybody who has attended the training? There's a lot of trainings that are popping up, so definitely not going to badger any training at all, but I just want to say make sure it's credible and that you're going to get your money's worth and your investment, and that they're committed to you. And so with that, is it the best one? Is it the best training for you? It meets your budget, because trainings can vary. Does it meet your schedule? There's some trainings for one topic. Some can be a weekend training course, and then some can be a 6-month training course. So what's the schedule that you want to make sure you have your skill set by? If you have especially if you're business planning, if you know you want to offer a service, when do you want to offer that service? So then back that up to when do you want to make sure that you are astute and well versed and trained in that area. And then if you want to offer that service this summer, then you may not want to do a 6-9 month year training course. You may want to try to find a training course that's shorter. So that's what I mean by, is it the best one for you? And with that, that's why there's so many. It's wonderful that there's so many training opportunities out there, because everybody's different. Everybody's needs are different, and everybody's requirements may be different. One of the requirements that I have now that I didn't have before, so I did newborn care specialist training, and when I offer training and when I go to trainings, I just assume that you would have access to that training material forever. And that's not the case for every training vendor and every training class. And so that's one of my requirements now, that if I participate in a training, whether it's online or not, I want to make sure I have access to those modules in a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, because with your clientele, you may not have a mom that wants you to help with sleep training for the next 6 months. And so if I go 6 months without that, then that 7th month, if I get a mom that has that need, I want to make sure that I, just at least peruse through it just to make sure that I remember all of the key pieces, And so if I do a training class and I can't go back to it and refer to the material, to me, that doesn't meet my requirements. To me, that's not, I get value from the class, but that's not all the value that I want to get. So now so I just use that as an example, as that's one of my criteria when I look through training. Will I have access to that material a year from now to 5 years from now, or whatever the case be, and updated materials. And so there's some vendors that will, if you do the training class this year, you can have access to it forever, and they will update it, and you have access to the updated materials, which is important for me. And so I just use that as an example to make sure that you really think through because you can get overwhelmed with, there's so many wonderful training opportunities out here, which one should you do, where should you do it, how much should you pay for it. At the end of the day, for your clients and those moms and their families that you're working with, they just want the value. And so, they're not going to say, well, where did you get your training versus another place? It's at the end of the day, if you are serving well and meeting their needs and coming with the right energy and the pace of compassion and being able to help them, I think they're going to be okay with wherever you get your training from. So it's up to you, is what I'm saying. It's up to you. There's tons of training, affordability. So when I talk to a lot of doulas, one of the things that I hear quite often is affordability. Can I afford to do that training right away? Because again, some of them can be pricey. So knowing what your budget is, knowing what your schedule, and knowing your scope of practice. You want to make sure you do trainings that align with your scope of practice. And it doesn't necessarily mean, I was talking to one of the doulas, and she just mentioned that, it was a training opportunity, and it was just at such an affordable price that she hopped on it. And I commend her for that. That's kudos, because even though she's not ready to offer that service right now, she's looking ahead to what her scope of practice is and knows that that's something that she eventually wants to offer. And so she's maximizing the opportunity that she can right now, capitalizing on that. And so understanding your scope of practice and your business needs can really help you narrow down also the training. And accessible. Another piece on the accessibility part, there's some trainings that require, a test or in-person portion of the training where, you have to show that you can do the skill, the work, or whatever, for example, like placenta encapsulation. And so one of the key things that you should look for, and I would encourage you to look for, is accessibility. And so if you're looking at a training and eventually that you want to connect with those trainers in person, then that certainly can be a criteria for you, narrowing down to which training is best for you. I know quite a few training organizations here in the area, and they do the blended course. And I know a lot of people like that. And so that if you are a person who likes to do in person and online, that's an option for you. So finding whichever training is accessible as well can be a criteria for you. So let's hop right into some of the trainings that I wanted to just highlight and mention. So these are just some options, some of the things that we talked about before as ways to diversify your business, and many of them you can do virtually. So these are just some trainings that I've pulled together, and some of them before, like I said, were in person only. But now, if you go to their websites, they are showing that they are doing some online options, and sometimes the prices even changed. And so I just took some time to put it together for you all here. And if you're not interested in some of the trainings, then that's totally is fine. But again, I just want to plant some seeds of some different training opportunities that we can do from home especially if your schedule is a little bit lighter and you're not doing a birth or anything right now, then you may want to try one of these trainings. So the first one is the car seat certification of car seat training. You all know, especially for new moms, you know, the hospital is definitely will require you to have your car seat, and they're going to do the, you know, make sure the check is done and all of that. So you can actually be certified yourself as well. And the price, so before it definitely was always online, I mean, in person, but now they're offering online and they dropped the price. So it's less than $100. That's not bad. It's something to have in your toolkit if you're interested in that. Other trainings, CPR. You know, CPR, they dropped that price. It's $32 only for online version. If you do that, they dropped that price. It's through Red Cross. And so, let me make this disclaimer. There's so many training places out there, organizations. I just picked one or two to identify. So I'm not necessarily recommending, I mean, Red Cross, I'll recommend them, but I'm not just necessarily recommending it. I'm just saying these are some options for you to definitely do your due diligence and your research. So just because one organization is listed here is not saying that that's the one and only organization that anybody should go to. It's just one. I did try to narrow it down to organizations that have a national reach, or that you can from anywhere. They have a presence anywhere if you wanted to do that work with them. But I'm not necessarily recommending any of the vendors, but I'm just showing you what are some options, some vendors out there, organizations out there. So definitely CPR is great to have. For many of us, that's especially if you are a doula with an agency, that's for many agencies, that's a requirement anyway. So whether you are doing that as a service, we want to maybe one day teach it, that's definitely a great opportunity, and it's definitely at a bargain now for $32 and is online. Placenta encapsulation, like again, this is just one example of one training vendor here. That's the one that requires you to, usually you have to have a placenta, right, to do the training or to do the final part of the training. And that's one that some of them are offering blended. So they say you can sign up for their training now, do all the online pieces, and then when we get back to our quote unquote normal world, then they will allow you to come in and do the in-person part of the training where you have to do the encapsulation right there with them, so they make sure you know the skills. Other organizations are doing it all online. So they do the modules are all, you know, emailed to you. You log in to wherever they offer the training, and then they're even doing like a Zoom or another virtual option to do the testing or the certification part. And so so the point is, don't give up thinking that, you know, if one organization doesn't have the layout or the format that you want, find another one, because they are doing it different ways. But you definitely can do placenta encapsulation now online. For those that are interested in the nutrition world, these are just some examples here. Like there's a nutrition for infants and young children, nutrition for pregnancy and lactation. They have a whole bunch of others through this particular website. But if you have moms that, you know, have different diets, or if you love to cook, if you are a doula that offers those types of services, then being able to say and to share knowledge in the nutritional realm will be excellent. And so there's a lot of different training opportunities in that. And this one, this particular organization offers self-paced training. And so if that works with your schedule, then that's an opportunity. And I'll email all of this out to everybody so you all can have this and refer to it as needed. I know one of the key things that moms always ask me, and a lot of my clients as well as I hear, is about eating. Either they don't have an appetite, or they are too busy to cook, or you know, they don't know what they should be eating, especially if they want to do, you know, kind of try to do a holistic recovery. And try to do some of the traditional meals after for recovery, especially with different cultures. Having the knowledge of being able to connect it all from a nutrition standpoint certainly would be helpful and beneficial. And then another one is the nutrition coach. So again, different names, different flavors. This one is a little bit longer. It's more modules, but this one I think is a little bit more detailed. So again, neither one of these are going to make you a registered dietitian or anything like that, but it definitely gets into some of the key pieces that can help with the moms as they are pregnant, and then after in the postpartum journey with their food as well. So it's just a way to help when you're having those conversations with their moms about their eating. You can have some recommendations, and you can have some not only scientific backup reasonings for your recommendations, but many of these help with like meal planning and those sorts of things as well. And then this one came up in one of the conversations also this week, and I appreciate, I didn't get her clearance beforehand to share our conversation, but I appreciate our conversation because it made me do a little bit more research. Another one is a midwife assistant. So for those, we didn't really talk about home births or anything like that, but for those that are doing home births or working very closely with midwives, which I recommend that you definitely have midwives in your network. So if you work with those, you will know that a midwife always has like an assistant. And so there are some trainings now that are available, and some of them are available specifically for doula. So if you already are doula and have doula training, then there's a portion of the training that you won't have to do because you've already, as long as you have shown that you did the doula training, you're certified in that area. But essentially, it's just another role. Some of the assistants are employed by the midwife, some of them are employed by the hospital or the organization, and some of them are just independent. And so that's actually kind of a, if you wanted to be a doula and midwife assistant, depending on the needs, depending on the mom, it's a way to diversify as well. So there's different options, some of them are offered by independent organizations. Some of them I looked into the midwifery schools and they offer it. So it just depends on, again, what is your preference. But that is a role that as a doula, you can have 2 hats if you needed to and wanted to. And then let's keep going. And then I want to open it up for our chat. This is something that my timer's going off. This is something that I haven't done personally, but I love seeing it. And that is breast and belly casting. You all know when you're pregnant, closer to the end of the pregnancy, you do the wrapping, and then it's the casting, and it's literally like a cast, and it's hard. And like I've seen some moms that I work with, like they have it up in their nursery or whatever. But it's just beautiful. It just it captures the moment within their pregnancy, and so to be able to do that, you can offer that as a service. Probably 3 or so doulas that I know personally that do that, and they're the ones that are really artsy. And I say that funny, but they're real artsy. So they do like newborn photography already anyway, and things like that, and they make like the newborn hats and things like that. And so they just added this to their suite of services. So if you're interested in that realm, you can even do that online. So figuring out how to do belly casting, if you're interested in that type of service, and your clientele may be interested in it, then that's an option. One other option is being a yoga teacher and doing yoga for moms. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but one of my clients is really big into fitness, and she always wanted to have her own gym and things like that. And she loves yoga. And so now she does on a weekly basis yoga classes for her moms, the ones that have been cleared, of course. And so it's a way to connect. She's a doula, and it's a way to connect. It's a way for her. That's one of the things. She's not married or have any kids or anything, so it helps her with her isolation, but then also helps her keep moving, and it helps her moms keep moving. And it's just another way that she's giving value to her moms outside of the traditional doula services. And so even becoming a yoga teacher, if you have the time and that's something you love to do, that's an option. Moving down, a baby massage specialist, being able to give the massage to newborns. I love doing that, especially for newborns who have trouble sleeping. And it varies. This is, I have TBD there because it's an organization that says that if you inquire with them, they have different discounts. So I just left it as TBD, but many places can do it. And even if you didn't want to do a full training and become necessarily a specialist in it, there's YouTube videos on how to do baby massages, and they're very helpful. Definitely, one of my clients, a little baby, would not sleep, would not sleep well at all unless they had a massage. And so they're already spoiled, and we know this child's going to be in the spot when they get older. But yeah, so it's definitely an option if you're interested in that. And I love things like a baby massage because it definitely helps, a few techniques, it's kind of like reflexology. Like I do reflexology on my moms, when they're in labor, just a couple of techniques, and it can really just change that day for that mom, the delivery, and it could change for their baby. It can just help them relax as well. And then lactation consultant, and there's so many different names, Lactation Support Educator is one that I have, the CLC, there's so many different names, but all of it's around lactation. And so again, if you find one that works for you, they vary in hours. If you are interested in, again, diversifying your services, and you want to have quote unquote kind of a traditional job or traditional part of your practice as well, make sure that you do a lactation training that has an in-person portion of it or components of it, because there's a lot of hospitals that won't hire you and things if you want to do the lactation. And again, it depends on your background and your what you will qualify for, so you want to think about that as well. But if you're interested in being a lactation consultant or with a hospital or a practice, medical practice or anything like that, you certainly can do that, especially for the ones that are 90 hours. That's in the ballpark of the hours, but some of them won't accept it if it's totally 100% online. And so again, think about your practice, think about the scope of what you want to do, and the longevity of it, and then that can help you make the decisions as to which training can help you or be best for you. And others, a little bit more on the traditional side, childbirth educator, child preparation courses, those are available. Many of them are self-paced. I have some that would meet on a regular basis as well as the training, but many of them are self-paced. I think that is great to have. I think with the doula component, just having the childbirth education knowledge as well is helpful. I think it helps me a lot just with being able to pull out more tools out of my arsenal when I'm helping with moms. And so that is one that I encourage all doulas to have at some point in time, do the childbirth educating. And it doesn't have to necessarily be like a Lamaze or anything specific, but if you want to do Lamaze, you want to do spinning babies, if you want to do, which is great, I'm almost done with my training for that. You want to do spinning babies, you want to do hypnobirthing, anything like that that helps just with more techniques and more knowledge outside of built upon your doula knowledge, I think is definitely beneficial. Can't go wrong with it. And that also has discounted prices on some of the organizations that I looked at due to our situation right now. They have flexible payment plans and discounted prices. And so I wanted to touch briefly on options for being able to afford and pay for some of these things. A lot of these organizations have scholarships, especially the larger organizations. They have a scholarship. So even if you see a training and you like it, reach out to the organization. Even if you don't see one that is advertised, a lot of times the scholarships are just as requested, and they're kind of quiet about it. So check, see if there's scholarships. I know quite a few that do scholarships. If you are part of an organization, either military or other organizations, sometimes they have those discounts. One of the other ways to do it, and again, this is all about business and planning, which is part of what I love about being a doula, is you are a business person. You are an entrepreneur, so you got to do the business part of it. But part of that is if there's a training that you want to do. For example, if you want to be a nutrition coach and, the training, I think it was like $1,500 or something like that. If you know that, then when you are planning out the pricing for your packaging for the next year or next 6 months or whatever the case may be, then you may want to say, okay, I want to add, $30 or $50 more to my package to be able to cover that training that I want to do in 6 months. Just plan it out. So that's what I mean when I say transfer the cost to the client. Some organizations also do multiple course discounts. So if you see an organization that offers, 5 or 6 different classes, and you are interested in 2 of them, reach out to them, because sometimes they may give you a discount if you register for 2. And then sponsorship. So many doulas I have seen and have conversations with, if they are clients, once they trust you and you have shown your value, if they say, there's another area that I'm interested in you helping me with, and you're honest with them, right? You're transparent with them. And if that's the area, say, I really don't have any training or any knowledge in that area outside of, a YouTube video or Google, then if they are interested in sponsoring you for that training, that's something that you can build into their contract as well. So those are just some options, so some things that have worked, that I've seen have worked. I am going to hop back over, unmute. Okay, so everybody's unmuted, so we can chat now. I think we have a couple questions. I'll go through the chat. Awesome. Handout. Yep, I can definitely send you out the handouts. Oh, good. I love DMV connections. Good. So there's a question about my thoughts on certifications. So I am, okay. So, I work for the federal government, and I'm used to running multi-million-dollar public health programs, right? And people used to always laugh at me when I would say, there are some times that I hired folks without a certification before I hire folks with a certification. There's times I hire folks with a certification before I hire folks with a PhD. And the reason why I say that is, at the end of the day, it goes to your experience and being able to talk. So I know plenty of doulas who are very astute, very well-versed, and very knowledgeable, and don't have one certification. It's not quote unquote necessary, but is it good to invest in yourself? Is it good to make sure you are aware of what you need to know and you are able to intelligently help your clients? Yeah. And so in many ways, the easier way to do that, or the more direct way to do that, certainly is to go through training and become certified. So I didn't go into my background so much detail, but I have an undergraduate and 2 master's degrees, and I'm almost done with my doctorate. I will never, ever tell somebody don't go through training or education. I love education. I think it's very, very important. But I do say, don't lock yourself up into saying, oh, I have to actually get certified in an area before I can help and start working or start offering that as a service. You don't. You don't. Like I said, I was a doula a long time before I went through my formal quote unquote doula training, and there's many that do that, and you can certainly help, and you can certainly have a knowledge base in different ways without necessarily doing the certification. Some of it is mentoring, some of it is shadowing, especially if you know of a doula or a midwife or something, and they're working in the area that you want to start working in. Sometimes shadowing on that on-hand experience, on the job, quote unquote, experience can help you so much more than a textbook training. Or you can certainly do both, meaning once you read that textbook, you're able to have that insight knowledge because you're like, oh, I remember that, or it just helps you connect more. And so if it's for you, definitely get certified. If you can't get a certification right away, don't worry, don't beat yourself up. Don't let it stop you from pursuing that area. So that's what I would say when it comes to certification. Any other questions? There's a question about reflexology. So the things that I know about reflexology, I'm not quote unquote certified in anything in that area, but as a reflexologist that I partner with and work with quite a lot, again, making sure that my moms are well. And so over time, I just picked up a whole lot of techniques and asked for him to mentor me, and we did like one-on-one sessions for a couple months, and it's wonderful. It definitely is wonderful. So if I see a course out there, I probably would do one just so I can make sure that I know of other techniques. Everybody's probably different. Reflexologists probably do different things. But that one-on-one was how I picked it up. And it's some, basic things that can help, just basic tools like a little, using a comb, like a little comb, a little small comb in the hand, and those points of the hand can just be very, very relaxing to the mom, and just squeezing it, release. So things like that. So again, all I say with this training, there's wonderful training opportunities out there. If your schedule is clear and you can do them, do them. But don't think that if you're not getting trained in it per se in a formal course, that there's not another way for you to get that knowledge. Because at the end of the day, again, a mom doesn't care if you have 5 certificates on your wall or 500. She wants to know, can you help me with this pain? Can you help me with my planning? Can you help me with eating? Can you help me get some sleep? So it's about the application. It really is, at the end of the day, it's about the application. Awesome. Did anybody else have any questions or anything that they wanted to share with the group or call out?
I had a question. Did you have any not recommendations or suggestions about newborn care specialists?
Yeah, so I can send out who I went through. I loved it. I think it's very helpful. I think as a doula, you're trained on really focusing on the mom and,
Right.
a little bit on lactation. But the newborn care course was phenomenal because, it let me know like what temperature the nursery should be in. You know what I mean? It helped me understand different aspects of the crying. From everything from their vision to, understanding colors to letting me know that as a doula, especially with, I've had the pleasure of working with some newborns that have had different medical conditions. And so the newborns that are preemie and things, I shouldn't go as a doula with this striped shirt on, so different things like that. I didn't pick up in my other training, but as a newborn care specialist, I did pick up.
Yeah, that's good to know. Thank you.
Awesome. So we have about 1 more minute, and I promise you all I'll try to push it all in so we can have some chat and just sharing information and some chatting, but I won't hold you all day. Last time I asked for y'all, just let me know if you had any ideas for any other topics that we want to talk about, and I got a few. So I want to just poll really quickly, and you all let me know where we should go from here. Some of the other topics, and this is something that I constantly have anyway with all of my clients, is business setup, how we can do it, how we can be legit and do it quickly. Training, specifically on doula training. So we talked about a wide range of training topics today, but doula training itself and retraining in some ways. Clients, like clientele, building a clientele with even talking about like what's in a package, like a quote unquote client package or client proposal, and interviews, how to do interviews. So those are some of the topics that came to me. You all can do it in a chat or just call it out. Is there any particular topic that you all think is burning that we should do next week?
Definitely interviews.
Interviews?
Especially as a new doula, you kind of trying to figure out,
how to
exactly what topics to touch on when you're meeting with somebody for the first time.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think especially with now, since everything's changing virtually,
virtual interviews,
not having that face-to-face, the interviews are definitely changing that way as well.
Okay.
But I also wanted to add too, I know you listed the resource for like the CLE. So there's actually a woman out here who does the trainings through Bastyr. And you can also go directly through her, and it's $300 less to go through her than to go through the actual university. And she has an online course, and it's everything that the university teaches too, because she's the university teacher. So I can send that over to you so we can share it among the group. I was going
to say, if you have it right offhand, can you put it in the chat? If not, email me and I'll get it out to everybody. That's awesome.
Oh, I actually have it on my iPad, and I'm using my iPad.
I got it, no problem. Yeah, I'll definitely send it out to the group. Awesome. Okay, so we got in a couple of chat about the interviews, doing the face-to-face virtual. Okay, so I have a suggestion then. Let's do it a little bit broader as to just working with clients in the virtual space, and that can cover interviews, marketing, like in this virtual space, in packages. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that will be next week then. We'll do.
Can we add contracts to that? Contracts
Huh?
is a good idea too.
Developing contracts.
Oh, contracts. Oh, that's a good idea. Okay. Oh, that's a good idea. Okay, that may be a two-parter. That's a good idea. Yeah, because I know I've updated, my attorneys definitely recommend me update my contracts. I know quite a few have had to update it. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I've had to update
Yeah.
because I had a client that was supposed to be in person, but then it turned virtual because up here they started off saying nobody could come into the hospital.
Yeah.
And we had to discuss. I had to check in with my brother-in-law who's a lawyer about do I owe her a refund if I'm still offering the services, but she won't take them. It was a lot.
Yeah, very true. Just that alone can be a whole hour. So yeah, okay, so we'll do this. So it's going to actually end up probably being a little mini series. So I don't think we're going to do all of that next Friday, but we'll start a series. We're about to go into May, so new month. Okay, we'll start a series, and it'll be about working with clients, interviews, contracts, face-to-face. Okay, that's what we'll do if everybody's on board with that. Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining. I see some pieces here in the chat. I'll make sure I address that and follow back up with everybody that needs the information, and I'll send this out. Oh, and let me just show, I did want to show for you all, let me see. I did, because some of these pieces I know are going to be in the membership community that I was telling you all about, that I wanted to share, and I said I'll get some more information a little bit later on. Okay, y'all can see it back. Okay, so I wanted to share, sorry, I should have done this a little bit earlier, as to what are some things that if you're interested in working with me on, some things that we're going to be offering over the next couple of weeks as well. So we're going to do these chats. This is what I love to do. I will do this anyway. But some of the things that we do is like the doula business intensive. So that is for those who are pretty much done with their certification or their training and they're ready to really get set up. We have an intensive, it's a couple hours, and normally it's closer to $600, but just for the sisterhood, I will make sure it's discounted. When you walk away with that, you have your website, you have your logo. We send everything off to the state to get you certified. We know what your price should be based on your market. So it's pretty customized. But we go through a lot, but we do it fast. If you're one that want to just get it ready, get it done, and you will blitz, that's definitely something available for you. The child preparation course, that's a virtual course. It's a combination between child educator, childbirth education course, as well as just kind of the ABCs as to what your client should be doing and knowing when it comes to bringing that baby home. So we go into some of the safety measures, what they even scheduling, which is a big thing for a lot of my clients, like especially for the moms that are going to know they need to go back to work in 8 weeks, 12 weeks, or whatever the case is. So how do you prepare bringing a baby home and prepare that new lifestyle to transition into your new norm as a working mom? So that's one of the pieces also that we touch upon in that one. So that's going to be in May. That one is a shorter training. The business intensive is going to be on the 17th. And the Doulahood Sister community, like I said, it was going to be a little bit after Mother's Day that was going to be opening up. But that's a membership site, and it's just built for us, doulas and birth workers, so for midwives and midwives assistants. And that's where a lot of this information that we talk about here, I go into much more detail, and it'll be available. So, and I want it to be a resource for your business as well as just you as a doula, meaning so I'm building in their referral network. So like I have a lot of moms, like, y'all know I was military, so I moved around a lot, and I know a lot of military people that are all over the world, and they reach out to me like, well, do you know a doula in this area, that area? So I literally have a notebook where I say, okay, well, so-and-so is in this area. And so I want to formalize that. So that's going to be part of in the sisterhood community. Monthly training, content library, blog posts that you can use as a doula to send it out, put on your, modify it for you, for your clientele, send it out for your community, newsletter, all sorts of things like that will be available in the sisterhood community. For founding members, because again, I'm just launching this in May, end of May, so June will be the first month that it'll be 100% available. So for founding members, which I would consider you all founding members, anybody that signs up between now and May 31st, it's just a monthly fee of $33. For those who sign up after, they won't be founding members, and there's going to be a higher price tag for them. And one of the other things quickly that I just share is that one of the signature courses or signature programs, coaching programs that I do with my clients is similar to the business intensive, but it's over 90 days. It's over 3 months. And that's for those who are really starting from square one, from scratch. So they know they want to do it. And this is a good thing to do when you're in parallel with your finishing your training or you're finishing your certification. So if you know you're in that last stretch of those last 2 or 3 months, then this is a great package, a great program that you go into that we do everything. So you walk away with that. Again, with your business setup, we go through how your invoicing, your back end system. If you need to do a VA, how you're going to do your scheduling, we get you all of that, all those pieces set up, as well as we make sure that you have your strategy. So what is your market? How are you going to do your marketing? What can we do to help you be set up as a business on the back end, so that way you can do what you need to do as a doula. You can focus your energy on that piece. And so that's what that is about. So those are some opportunities that I just wanted to share. Thank you all so much for joining. And I want to make sure everybody had my email address here, bloomingmamawellness@gmail. Send me an email at any time. If you need to set up a time to do a chit chat, if you say, Bianca, I don't know, it's so much on my plate, what can we do? Have that conversation. Certainly happy to do that. I do strategy calls all the time. Or if you're interested in registering or signing up for the community, certainly just send me an email and I can get you connected with that. I think somebody had a question in the chat. Is there a membership? So, no, so, okay. Hold on one second. Let me, okay, so y'all all unmuted. Okay, so now let me go back to the chat and y'all can call out. So no, so this sisterhood chat on the Fridays, this is not a membership. It's free, one come all. I just want to make sure that I'm giving to the community, and that especially for those that are in areas that don't know any other doulas or anything like that, you have a place you can connect and we can talk and discuss. So this is a giving space. So no, there's not a membership with this. The membership, and it may be confusing because of the name, but the sisterhood membership site, that's one that's really can be the backbone of your business, where policy changes, articles, you want to build in a newsletter for your business, we have newsletter templates in there on a monthly basis. You can just update it, put a spin on it based on your experience and your clientele. You can update it that way. Referral network, clients that are interested your way, you'll be on you to set up the interview and to get hired. But at least if we have inquiries, that's going to be part of the referral network. The other part of the referral network, and one of the things I really love, is that as a doula, you can't do it yourself. You're going to need a backup, especially if it's a birth at 10, 12, 15 hours, you're going to get tired. You're going to need somebody that you can call on. So that's membership. That's the point of the membership site, is be able to know who you can trust, you can count on, and can easily connect with them. There's another course. Yes, so just reach out to me if you're interested in any of the training classes, because I do offer payment plans. It just has to be totally paid in full before the start date. But yeah, there's definitely payment plans, especially for the coaching. So the coaching, I only do a small number because the signature package, because it's really literally roll up the sleeve, hands on, and every time we are working, like literally it's a working session. So I keep it a very small number. But especially for that, if you wanted to start payment earlier, you can. So you want to do a payment in May and then in June be ready to go, you certainly can. And that's one that only open up every 3 months. Yeah, I can send out some of the information from this chat. I can compile it all and send it out to this group. And that's one of the great things about the membership site. I want to be able to have it a place where everybody can go in at any time and get information. You have the newborn classes. Okay, so I think I got to the questions. Did I miss anybody? If I did, call it out for me. I'm not trying to ignore anybody at all. Oh, thank you. I see you put the information here about the course. Awesome. Okay. All right. So if that's it, then I thank you all for your time. We're a little bit over today, but so much information. I love it. I love it. I love it. So I'll send out an email with the materials, what we went over, and then certainly the link for next Friday. If there's a way I can figure out how to do the same link every week, I would, and you all won't have to keep re-registering, but I'm sorry. So until I figure that out or move to another platform, you have to re-register to get the new Zoom link for the next call. So next Friday we'll do that, and we'll start our series. I'll figure out how we can package it up, but I'll start our series on working with clients. Thank you all. Love and light to you all. See you later.